What's poppin', y'all? This is DJ with One Shot Game, man. You already know how the motto go. You get one shot at life, but a lifetime to learn all the game you need to help improve your life. The choice is yours on which route you choose to go. Now, as I always say, you get two choices: the ability to settle in the life that has been set out for you, or to pave a path towards your destiny. That choice is also up to you. So before I get into the title of my video, I want to say a big shout out to all my supporters. You guys are great. And even the ones behind the scenes, I see y'all too. So, hey, look, I made a video that's currently in the editing process of talking about reptilian energy. And let me give you a strong example of how reptilian energy is very strong and articulated in court systems and penal systems. You know what I'm saying? Because oftentimes these reptilians are so clever at what they do that in the moment of doing what they're doing to benefit themselves, they do not see no wrong in that. But in order to not have to take accountability or the consequences that come with them from doing something wrong, they'll make it seem as if they're not aware of the fact that they did it. It's not a mental health disorder. It is nothing wrong with them. They're fully aware of what they did and why they did it. It's just that having to accept it and take the consequences behind it is something they're not really ready to accept. And so they'll deny it. And let me give you an example. Everybody in jail, in prison, thinks they're innocent. Everybody. You know what I'm saying? Even the ones that know that they did it, they will still go to court and say that they're not guilty, even though they know they're guilty. Now, sometimes, again, like I said, those type of people do not want to accept consequences for them doing something that they knew was wrong. They wanted to do something wrong and get away with it, period, because their motives behind why they did what they did is justifiable for themselves. You know what I'm saying? You got to really think about it. Why, you know what I'm saying, there are people that out there that murder people. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that it's a reason and a motive why they murdered that person. And oftentimes it's because that person may have a better life than them. That person may get the attention they don't get. That person may have the money that they don't have. You know what I'm saying? That person may be loved and they don't get that. And so what causes the ability to want to hurt somebody is the fact that the jealousy and rage and envy builds up so high that it turns into this unexplainable rage for a person who is a reptilian. You know what I'm saying? And they go out and they set out and do what they want in hurting and killing other people because it's justifiable for them on their part why they did it. You know what I'm saying? And then it's up to the courts to go, you know, do the evidence, collect the research. But still, there are some people that are guilty who will sit in court and go through the whole trial process and still be found guilty after that. They just were doing everything they could to try to avoid the consequences that came behind what they did. Because honestly, they didn't want to have to take the accountability for doing it. Because to them, it was justifiable. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, I'm going to give an example coming from where I come from. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of my culture people who are grown up in a poverty mindset. So, you know, they have people in their ear complaining about them needing to do more, put in more. So, in order to fulfill that area where they don't have to hear people in their ear, they go out and rob somebody to get the money. You know what I'm saying? And they get caught like days or weeks later. To them, it was justifiable why they did it because of the simple fact of them having a poverty mindset. They don't think they were wrong. They think they were right for doing what they did. You know what I'm saying? And when they go and they get caught up and they get locked up, some people, you know what I'm saying, just don't ever admit that they did it. You know what I'm saying? But they know that they did it. There's no question about it. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to think about, oftentimes it's very rarely that you see people who go into court or into jail and admit and plead guilty that they did what they did. That's very rare. The non-guilty pleas are way more higher than, you know what I'm saying, the guilty pleas, simply because I want you to investigate and do your research and find me guilty. You know what I'm saying? But without proof, without knowledge, you know what I'm saying, without people using their truth and who they are, 9 times out of 10, you won't be able to convict me to be guilty. And oftentimes, listen, there are lawyers that are paid, that, you know what I'm saying, are so skilled at lying, and they go behind the scenes, they finesse, they bribe, they dangle cherries over people's head, you feel me, to get them, to convince them to not come forth with the truth, and convince them enough to lie that that person ends up getting off, and they go right back in the streets and do whatever it is they've been doing. Listen, I'm telling you right now, this has been going on for so long. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. If I do something wrong, I'm gonna admit it. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm standing up for what's right, oftentimes I don't gotta speak on that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna show the test of time, and the wrong approved too. You feel me? But again, you got to think about the world we live in. We live in a world that has been manipulated and finessed for so long that I can see why the energy of the reptilians is attacking the truth tellers. Because now you're discovering and putting out there everything we stand behind, and we just ain't ready for that. You know what I'm saying? Because we were very skilled at what we did, and it worked for us. We didn't have to be who we truly wanted to be, because we figured out a niche in the game, and we finessed it and twisted it until it worked for us. You know, listen, I'm telling you, you got to think about it now. If the system is basically going off what's wrong is wrong and what's right is right, then no more finessing, then no more dangling over people's head, then no more convicting people who are innocent, then no more letting the people who are actually guilty go back on the streets. You feel me? People will actually have to take accountability for their wrongdoing. And that is hard for people to accept, who are basically reptilians at life. You know what I'm saying? They do not like to take accountability. They do not like to admit when they're wrong, because they thought they had a plan so calculated and precise that they wouldn't get caught, because they were able to trick everybody out of being truthful. And then you'll have one person that comes along like, hey, you know what, this ain't right, something about this don't add up. You feel me? Now it's a risk when you do that, because you're going against a whole system that's fed off of lies, manipulation, and confusion into believing what is most acceptable. You know what I'm saying? Listen, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's so real. So I can kind of understand, you know what I'm saying, why, again, some people will be a threat, because people who commit crimes and go to jail and act like they didn't do anything will now have to take accountability for the things that they do, even if they're swift enough to convince people that they didn't do it. You feel me? You got to think about how the system is cooperated off of that. A lot of people who are in good positions, they can finesse and twist people's minds and have them believe in what they believe. But if you're a person that's in a down position and you ain't really got too much, and people don't really care about you, it's really easy to convince you to not believe what you believe. You know what I'm saying? To fall in line with what we own, because we done already tricked the world that we got more. You feel me? Listen, I'm telling you right now, that's tricky, and that's really crazy how people do that. They usually pick the most acceptable people that people, you know what I'm saying, don't care about, don't really, you feel me, are bothered with them. They put a label out there that this area, you feel me, drug abuse, don't really care about them people. You feel me? People that's homeless, don't care about them. They don't got as much as us. Don't already look at them and put them in a box. They don't got what we got. So why would you believe someone that has less than what you have? You feel me? Listen, because they are people just like you. That's what it is. You feel me? But again, you'll be strictly targeted when you speak your truth. You are someone that takes accountability for the wrongs that you do. You know what I'm saying? And you accept it. It's times where I done did wrong and I done got caught. And I accepted the fact I got caught. Because I was trying to do something wrong and I got caught. So why would I sit there and lie about it? You feel me? You caught me. And you take the consequence on the chin. And you let that be that. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to get caught for doing something wrong, don't do something wrong. But again, like I said, people that are reptilians, when they do things that are wrong, it's not because they see it as wrong. They see it as, I'm gaining power by doing it my way. You know what I'm saying? I get all the source of energy I need by doing it my way. And I'm not listening to anyone go against it, period. You feel me? So now when my actions start to catch up and I get caught for doing something I knew was wrong, I'm not going to admit that I did something wrong. I'm going to let you prove to me that I did something wrong. And even when I still get, proved wrong, I'm still not going to admit that I was wrong. But again, you got to think about it. Oftentimes people who are wrong, they go into these other cells with these other inmates, you know what I'm saying? Not the court system, and they end up telling on themselves, and that's because they're around people that they feel are reptilians, not realizing that they may not be reptilians. They could be informants who are meant to tell the truth, and they go and tell your information back, and now you feel me, found yourself guilty. Listen, it's a real game out here, and listen, it's critical that you be aware of what you're going up against when you tell the truth. You feel me? Because that's not something that they want. They want you to just stay quiet and act like you don't see nothing. You feel me? And don't voice, you feel me, what's real. But you got to think about it. How many people are misinformed about knowledge that can help them grow simply because there are people in charge who don't want certain information to get out to protect who they are? They don't care about you and what you got going on. Their whole system is built on what them and what they got going on, not you. You feel me? Without everybody realizing and waking up and thinking for themselves, the systems function the same because they have everybody in an illusion. You know what I'm saying? But it's just crazy how the world operates like that. And you have major corporate officials that get on these national televisions or on the internet just telling us whatever. And oftentimes there are so many comments from people because people fall into that trap. A lot of people can't think for themselves. They don't know how because they've been manipulated for so long to think a certain way that having the ability to think for yourself is almost impossible. You know what I'm saying? But again, when you do it for yourself, can't nobody steal your spot. But I feel as if I've been caught in a trap where, lies were pushed, manipulation was pushed without truly getting to know someone for who they truly are. You know what I'm saying? And that could put you in a position where you lose out on life. You lose out on the things that really mean things to you simply because you didn't have an opportunity to use your own mind. Some people get tricked and manipulated into their sentences. You know what I'm saying? They don't even know what's going on. They don't have their own mind. They push the agenda of aggressiveness and power and control that it takes over. And next thing you know, you end up sitting in a cell for 20 to 25 years when you know that you're innocent. And you have to have people that are dedicated to getting the truth out there, that's willing to go and vouch for you and get you back to your family by proving that you were innocent. But again, you know how many people spent 25, 30 years locked up over some false allegations? Just mind manipulation of the mind and being poor and not being able to afford a good lawyer to you feel me, vouch for them. That's sad. But they don't care. The people that did it don't care. When they finally get found guilty for convicting someone that was innocent, they oftentimes resign, they quit, they give up because they knew what they did was wrong, but they did it for the benefit of themselves. You feel me? They don't care. These are people that are very skilled at being reptilians. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to play along So you can't see my hand. But really, I'm going against everything you stand for because it's about me. You can't trust me. And I wouldn't bet on you trusting me because as soon as I get the chance to do something wrong, I'm going to do it. And as long as you can't see me, how do you know? Exactly. You feel me? So listen. I'm telling you right now, I'm just a person that, you feel me, was able to get put on the outside and looked in, you know? And I deserve a right as a human to have an equal opportunity at life. You can't make someone, you know what I'm saying, be quiet or sit on the bench because they're going against your whole motion. If you are able to realize what you're doing and accept the fact that, you know what I'm saying, you know what you do, you know what I'm saying, you could possibly be saved. But but if you're one of those people that just don't care, it's because it's strong. I'm telling you, that energy is so strong. It'll be people out here doing wrong. They know they doing wrong, but they don't care to fix it. And some people are okay with that. They'll never say nothing about it. Just let that person keep doing wrong, keep doing wrong. You feel me? Because it's so normal that people don't know the difference. And then when you feel me, come across someone that maybe don't do wrong but do the right thing, it's almost like it's too late because we already got a label on you. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have to prove yourself. Guilty until proven innocent. I was born that way. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be able and be wise enough to know that your voice hold weight. A lot of people don't understand how much they voice hold weight. But again, silence is just as powerful. I know when to retract my energy because the less energy I give to the people who are against me, the stronger I become. You will not silence me. You will not condemn me. You will no longer make me be quiet. And imagine how that plays out in court situations. You know what I'm saying? Against the guilty and the innocent. It's a system all designed off of your mentality. Don't let them go against you. Move right. You know, do the right thing even when no one is looking. Because over time, it will stand the test of time. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you are who you are. You give out what you want back. And at some point, the illusion will slowly start to be removed. It may take time, but over time, the illusion will be removed and they'll see who's really guilty and who's really innocent. You know, but this has been going on for centuries, decades, way before I was even born, you know? So it's going to take some time until we get to that point fully, because a lot of people are still on the fence. They're upset that their reptilian energy does not work for people that it used to work on. You know what I'm saying? And they're having a chance to come face to face with who they are. Otherwise, the consequences are going to be real. And that's the universe trying to tell people, hey, y'all need to wake up. Because a lot of y'all been being tricked for so long, y'all have no idea who you are. You know what I'm saying? So, listen. Don't get tricked. Know who you are first. You feel me? So that if any wrong is done to you, but you move right, you respect people, you give out what you want back, it will return back to sender. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't work when two people are being wrong to each other. It doesn't work because nobody will be able to see what's going on because they'll be so confused by the illusion. You know what I'm saying? So listen, if you don't know what it is, I just told you. Please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe.